Okay, so this is the general interface of Power BI. Now, to load the data, you can click on the Get Data on top, where it shows you a drop-down menu for a whole lot of different data sources you can choose from. Now, if it's an Excel file, you choose Excel. If it's something else, you can find its format right in there. You can see SQL Server right there. We have CSV, which is also an Excel type of data. So depending on what data you are importing, you choose the one you are looking for. Now, mind you, I'm going to use a data to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So I'm using this particular data, that is the call center data set, to demonstrate how you load the data into Power BI. Now, you can click on this Excel icon right in the middle to go about the whole loading process. You can click on that one up there, or even click on the Get Data like I said earlier. Now, let's follow that way. We click on it, we click on Excel, and now we choose our data set. Now, once we choose our data set, Power BI is going to show us a different window, and that's what we have here, the navigator, where we will be presented with the opportunity to either load the data straightforward or transform it. So as you can see, we have the options down there. We have load and we have transform data. Now, if you want to load the data, you can click on it right there and you load it. But one thing that is vital to mention is you should always try and look at the transform data. The reason be that most of the times data come in a messy format, like it's messy. When we say data is messy, I hope you understand with the little data analysis you've come across. That is, there might be duplicates, there might be null entries, there might be a whole lot of things that doesn't add up in there. So you can see that we have a lot of null entries in this particular data I used. Now, if you use a data like this for any form of analysis, your analysis might probably be wrong, or it will be far away from the truth. Reason be that null entries have a way of affecting the outcome of any analysis at all you are performing. So it's advisable to look at ways and means to remove them. And I think I will show that in a bit. But one thing that is also vital to mention is that when it comes to removing null entries from a data or a data set, you should be very careful, because imagine you have a data set like that has about 100,000 entries, and the null entries in there, or the rows that contain null entries, constitute about 40% of that data, meaning over 40,000 or so. If you decide to remove null from all the columns or from the entire data set, what it means is that you slash the data by 40%. This means that your analysis is going to be based on only 60% of the data, which is going to give you solution or maybe an outcome or an insight that is not the actual, that is not correct. Let me put it that way. So what we advise in this case is that you look at the key performance indicator. Now, when we talk about key performance indicators, it is analysis specific. In this case, what I'm driving at is that this data is huge. So in case you want to maybe perform analysis on maybe something like you need analysis on the time, but the agent is not important, then you focus on only the null entries in the time column. Now, most of the times you realize that the null entries in that particular column you are looking at will probably be way lesser. So it means that removing them will probably not affect the analysis that much. So you center your attention on that one and remove those ones, those rows containing now in this particular column that your analysis is centered on, so that you don't end up taking null entries from the entire data and you end up losing about 40% of the whole data. So you focus on the key performance indicators, that is the key columns that will influence your the particular analysis you are performing at that particular point in time. Then you remove the null entries from that one. Once you finish with that, I think if you want to check for duplicates and other stuff too, you can basically do that and go ahead with loading the data into Power BI for your visualization, analysis, and other stuff to begin. So that is one thing. I think this might probably not, maybe you know this already. Let me put it out. Maybe you know this already. So you might ignore it or something. Yeah. But if you don't know it too, then I think I've shared with you one thing that will be very vital to your journey into data analysis and data science, or anything data specific. Yeah. So to remove null entries, this is how you go about it. You just click on that drop down arrow on the side of the column, then you uncheck the null. Once you uncheck it and you press OK, it will remove the null entries from that particular column. So the null rows containing null will be removed from that particular column. Now, if the rows that contain null in that particular column appears to be the only rows containing null in the entire data set, then once you remove it, the entire data set will be free of null entries. Also, it is advisable that once you click on that drop down arrow, or let's say drop down icon on the side of the various columns, it's advisable that you scroll down to check whether there is blank or anything like that there. Once you are done with all these things, you can click on the close and apply. So once you click on that, you choose close and apply, and what Power BI is going to do is that it's going to now close the window that was opened and load your data into Power BI for you to begin your analysis. So that is what is happening right now. The data is being processed or load or something. It's being processed into Power BI. And once it's done, it will show on the right hand side of your Power BI graphic user interface, and that's what you can see. So when you check on the right side, you see we have sheet 1 or something there. You click on that arrowhead and it shows you the content of the data set. So from this point, you can begin your visualization, or if there are other things you plan on doing before doing that, you can also do that as well. Yeah, so I think basically that is that. Let me know if you need anything else so that I can do justice to the explanation. Thank you.